Hey, welcome to Let's Talk Nation. I'm your man, Rod Level. We got the general sitting right next to Attorney Greg Johnson.
Hey.
You remember that Fat Albert?
Hey. You kill me with this stuff, man.
Hey, man. Hey, I'm just having fun, man. Enjoying. And I know what you about to say, but go ahead and say it to me.
Listen, man, Brother Love, you know how we get this thing started every week, man. How's this weekend for you this past
weekend was great, but there were two things in particular that took place this weekend that made it even more exciting. The first, I'm gonna just go ahead and take a personal point of privilege.
All right.
Sunday was my wife's birthday, man.
Okay, all right. Happy birthday to Miss Love.
Yeah, she she enjoyed it, and I did the what do you call it, Greg? With all the different meats and rice.
You're talking about the
I was flipping that thing. What do you call that, man? No, not that.
Like hibachi.
Hibachi.
Yeah.
Hey, so I did that, man, and
so you cooked yourself?
Yeah.
On the grill and everything?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Hey, and I was proud of myself, man. It came out real good, man. Had to take some pictures, but that is for the first lady. But something else happened because we were going back and forth from the patio. She had her relatives over there, man.
Yeah.
And something that you and I are gonna talk about.
Yeah.
That's right down the street from us, as a matter of fact.
I know exactly what you're talking about, man. But before we get into that, man, you know what we got to do?
Let people know who they're listening to.
Got to let people know that they're tuned in to two of the most influential voices in Central Florida on Monday Night Podcast, Brother Love and Greg Jackson, the dynamic duo, guaranteed to raise your IQs 10 to 15 points. And on some nights, Brother Love, we get them up to 20. And if you want to be a part of the night show, all you got to do is hit your telephone dial in to 321-483-7002. Again, that's 321-483-7002. Or you can go to your Facebook page, call your friends, call your mama, call your daddy, tell them to join you and see Brother Love, the dynamic duo, the hardest working men in Central Florida on a Monday night, brother.
No, you got me fired up, man. You got me fired up.
I'm about to pull up my pistol on you, man. So, Brother Love, let's get it on, man. Let's get it on.
Hey, man, you're absolutely correct, man. I mean, hey, I'm excited, man. I mean, this weekend was great. And then when I say something took place from a little city right down the street from us, but they were way in, what was it, Pennsylvania?
Pennsylvania, that's right.
They were in Pennsylvania. And, man, Greg, I am talking about none other than Lake Mary Little League.
That's right, man. So, Brother Love, now you're actually watching the game, right?
Yes.
So I wasn't watching the game, but I've been following the Lake Mary Little League team for the past 2 weeks. So every morning I'm driving into work and I'm listening to see how these kids are doing, and they were doing pretty good. And then they were beat by Texas. I remember they got beat by Texas, so they had to play an elimination round against New York. And so I'm like, man, I hope these kids pull it off because they beat New York, they get to move on. And so lo and behold, I hear that they're playing for the Little League Championship. But, I'm the type of person, Brother Love, whether it's Florida State football or a team that I really, really like, I can't watch the game. I have to wait and I have to see the results because if I'm watching the game, I get too anxious. So I'm happy to hear, Brother Love. I'm going to let you report what happened with Lake Mary's Little League, Brother Love.
Greg, I'm just, because, see, nobody can do the play-by-play like you do, but, man, I'm sitting there watching this, and I'm watching these kids play, and then I'm hearing about the pitcher from Chinese, Taipei, and their pitcher, I mean, he is a baller, throwing a 75, 78 mile an hour ball, a 12-year-old. And so, it's one of them games, man, where you're just on the edge of your seat. But Greg, China today scored, I think, in the first or second inning.
Yeah.
Then Lake Mary, they were playing their heart out, man. I mean, just playing their heart out.
Yeah.
And then in the sixth inning, they actually scored a run in.
Tied it up.
1-1. And so, I'm not a baseball guy.
Yeah.
So all these women sitting around the table, and I wasn't even ashamed. I said, well, do they play 9 innings? And then one of the women said, no, Little League, they play 7.
Uh-huh.
And I'm saying, well, they just tied it up in the 6th. Something got to happen in the 7th.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as you well know, the 7 came and went, and they were tied up.
Yep.
So what happens then?
So what happens after that, Brother Love? They have this young man, I forget his name, but his dad is the coach of the team. He comes up to bat, and he does something that no one is expecting, Brother Love. And he did something that was so unexpected that it caught the Chinese Taipei Little League team off guard. And this isn't just a baseball team, but look, this is a dynasty.
You're right.
For Little League baseball. This team is that Lake Mary played. And this kid gets up there and he lays down the bunt. and he runs like his life depends on it. The Chinese Taipei pitcher gets the ball, and he throws.
Nobody's
first.
there. Nobody's
He
there.
throws the first, a mistake that has never been made.
And is it called an error?
Yeah, it's an error. Yeah.
Okay, called an error. But then, see, Greg, we're talking because we're talking. I mean, this was. I mean, it made us excited, man. When you looked up and saw that, and everybody started jumping up because when he threw that error, they were in the 8th inning.
Bottom of the 8th.
Hey, and when that score, game is over.
Game is over. And Lake Mary is now the Little League World Champions. First time ever that a Florida team has won the Little League Championship. And when we talk about the Chinese Taipei dynasty, Brother Love, let's put it into perspective. This particular team has won the Little League World Series 18 out of the last 20 years. These kids come and they know how to play ball.
Can you put a comma right there?
Yeah.
Because here's what I want to say, Greg, and just to your point, they come, they know how to play this game because over there, they're getting continuous support.
Yeah.
And when I say support, Greg, I'm talking about financial. Yeah. I'm talking about certain trainings.
They're getting countrywide support.
Countrywide support.
Yeah, they're getting countrywide. Not Lake Mary is getting Lake Mary support.
And I'm not diminishing anything from the support that they got, but I want to make this point. You had some small businesses that are in their community that supported this team. The support for these type of programs where you see these kids, great, they're developing more than athletic skills. Man, the leadership that I saw that came from those coaches, the leadership that I saw, great, they did it with class. I'm talking about the cameras was scanning the parents in the crowd, mothers, fathers, siblings. That leadership came from those mothers and fathers. That leadership came from the coaches. Yeah. That leadership came from that community.
That's right. And so, one of the things also, we were talking about this before we got on the air, and this has actually been, talked about widely in the media as well, is after the Lake Mary team won, and they were elated to win. But they fought hard. They won a hard-fought battle, and they looked to the side and they saw that the Chinese Taipei team, that their opponents were no longer their opponents at that moment, but they were fellow Little League baseball players.
Yeah.
And the coach even said, at some point in time, it may not have been on this large of a scale, but at some point in time, we felt that type of disappointment. And so the coach went over, he hugged the other team's players. His guys got over and they hugged them and consoled them in their loss. And that's the type of class, that's the type of support that this team got, that they were able to show love to their opponents, even in a moment of time when they should have been elated and just thinking about their accomplishments. They thought about the team that they were playing against.
Because, Greg, it's one of them things to where if you never, I was sharing this with a friend to the extent that people see our successes. They see our wins. They don't see all those losses that we rack up. And not that we want to, nobody wants to go out and talk about losses that you rack up, but those losses are the building foundation on how do you proceed forward with being a winner. And the fact that those kids knew what it felt like to be in that situation.
Yeah. And so they returned graciousness even in victory.
Yeah.
They returned graciousness. And so, show me a man who knows how to lose graciously and I'll show you a winner. And I'm not saying that losers are winners. I'm just saying someone that can take those defeats and learn from them and be able to sympathize with others in their time of despair is someone that's going to be a leader and a winner.
Oh, you're right. And Greg, I can't say it enough to applaud the Lake Mary community, because the entire community was behind this team, Greg. I hadn't seen anything like that in a long time, man.
Yeah, no doubt. And so, also not just Lake Mary. Let's give a big shout out to the Central Florida community.
Yeah, you're right.
Because Central Florida got behind this team. We were rooting for them and cheering for them. We're way over in the big city of Apopka cheering for these kids, and I know that there were other folks in Orlando that was cheering for these kids. So, Lake Mary Little League, you not only have done your city and your community proud, you've also done Central Florida, the state of Florida, and these United States proud in your accomplishment and being the Little League World Series champions for 2020.
And Greg, I got to tell you, man, watching this game, can't remember the young man's name who was the pitcher, a premier pitcher for Lake Mary Little League. And man, Greg, people don't realize, man, what wear and tear
Oh yeah.
it puts on you.
Yeah.
He picked a heck of a game. But then my other hero,
Yeah.
the kid Alexander.
Uh-huh.
Great. This kid, man, he exhibited leadership qualities, man. And I like his little dance. And his personality outweighed him. He reminds you of Big Papa Ortiz.
Oh yeah. Big Poppy. Yeah. Okay.
Hey, man,
Okay.
they balled out, but they did it with class.
Nice. Well, listen. So once again, congratulations to Lake Mary and to Central Florida, for that matter, for this great accomplishment. But Brother Love, along with with some of the some of the cheers and some of the other things that have come about, there was a tragedy also in the sports world just this weekend with another young man, a young football player out of Selma, Alabama. He was a junior quarterback at his school, Morgan Academy. And apparently, almost similar to the young man who took the hit January 2 years ago, his heart stopped. This young man, I believe he threw an interception, and he went to tackle the guy that he threw the interception to. Suffered a brain injury on the field, but when I saw it, it looked like he was able to get up and walk off. So it would have been something similar to a concussion. And that's why parents, need to take very seriously concussions in sports. That's why it's also important that, when you have males that are playing sports with young ladies, you got to be very careful about what's taking place, because this young man, wearing a helmet, wearing pads and everything like that, took a hit, had what they would consider to be a concussion-like syndrome, and he ended up having a brain injury, and he succumbed to his injuries the same day or the day after he suffered the injury on the football field. First game of the season for this junior quarterback out of Selma, Alabama.
Hey, and our hearts and prayers go out to his family and friends. And Greg, you're right, man. I mean, we got to be ever so cautious and caring, and also understanding that football is a contact sport, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Accidents like this can happen.
Yeah, unfortunately they do. And I mean, listen, kids frequently get concussions from football, from basketball, from soccer, and sports like that. As a parent whose kids used to play sports, thankfully it was track. This is one thing that you never want to hear, that your child is out there playing a game that they enjoy, that they may want to go to the next level on. They run a typical play, something happens, and you get that call saying that your child is no longer with you.
Greg, if you don't mind, man, I something that you said is gonna make me kind of deviate and tail off a little bit, and if I don't, but you mentioned because what we do see a lot of males participate in female sports now,
right?
And I remember there was a couple of cases of males participating in volleyball sports.
Yeah.
That there were two incidents where spiking the ball and hit this young lady to where the ball came back with such force that threw her into a concussion protocol.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking about that, and I'm thinking about and the boxing during Olympics, and it's been reported that the individual that was boxing there, she's a woman,
right?
But then the other woman boxer stopped because she said that she had never been hit that hard by another woman, and in her opinion, she didn't believe that it was a woman she was boxing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and to the point of the boxer in the Olympics from Algeria, if I remember correctly, and I did my research on this, and unlike some circumstances where you have men or young boys who are participating in women's sports, the boxer was actually born female.
Okay.
Birth certificate says female. Just unfortunately, and this happens in very rare cases. Another case is Caster Semenya, who was a tremendous 800-meter, 1,500-meter runner. Was winning track meets back and forth, but then she had elevated testosterone levels. to where she could no longer compete in women's sports, or she could only compete in like shorter distance races, not the 400 or not the 800, not the 1500, but like the 400 and the 100 or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was. But for these, for these athletes who are actually born female, who because of some imbalance, hormonal imbalance, or something that nature or God just does, I feel sorry for them. I really truly feel sorry for them.
Great. Let me ask you this question, because I've never heard, and maybe I hadn't paid attention, but I didn't even know that they were testing for hormones.
Well, the Olympics didn't care.
Okay.
The International Boxing Federation for amateurs did, and they actually disqualified the Algerian boxer because she had elevated testosterone levels. Testosterone is something that's known to make individuals, men and women, more aggressive, stronger, could potentially make them faster, and there are advantages to having testosterone. I mean, let's just deal with nature here. We're not talking about, let's deal in conjecture. No, we're talking about nature at this point and dealing in facts. And no matter what, what certain people try to tell you, there is a clear advantage of men or boys competing in women's or female sports. Now, you may have some females who can compete with men of a lower level, but you cannot put women on the same level as the top athletes in certain sports and expect them to have the same result. For instance, Leah Thompson, who was a male swimmer who ended up swimming with females, he actually was tied with or defeated by a female swimmer. So he didn't beat every female swimmer, he beat all of them except for one. So you got to see what I'm saying? Yeah. So there was that one that was able to tie or defeat him. The Algerian boxer had been defeated 9 times. So that means that there were 9 females that beat the Algerian boxer at some point in time. But I know I'm talking about something a little bit different. But the advantages are clear when you have a natural male competing against women or girls in their sports.
Greg, and I know you know this stuff at the back of your hand, but you mentioned Leah.
Yeah.
When Leah was, I guess, bona fide participating and competing as a male, right. They were 56, I think, ranked.
500 or something.
500, 500
yeah, not 50, nothing, like 500 or something, yeah.
Ranked in the world.
Yeah.
And then when the person transitioned to competing in women's sports, then they became, number 1, number 2, world record holder?
Number 2, number 2, but listen, put Leah Thompson up against a Ledecky any day, and I bet you Ledecky will eat Leah Thompson. Because listen, I mean, like I said, listen, there are certain females, women, that's something that I'm good at. Think about the number of women that can beat me at golf.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, there are women who can compete with a man in certain sports. But take those same women and put them up against a Tiger Woods or a Shambo or a what's Rory's last name? I forget Rory's last name.
McIlroy.
Put up. They're not going to be able to hit the ball as far and compete with the guys.
Okay, I'm glad you said that, because then if you come back full circle, because you're talking about the game of golf in its totality, but if you stack it up and rack it up to say, okay, let's line it up and see who the world's longest driver is. I can't remember.
I know you're talking about. I can't think of his name. But yeah.
So I mean, it's certain things, Greg, that I just think is human nature.
Right. But against me, they're with me, and I'm happy to say, listen, I'm being beat by a female, and
not by yourself.
You know what I'm saying? I can say that. That's not a problem. Man. But if you put her up against the top men in that sport, they can't hang. Listen, it's just the fact of the matter.
And I hate that I took us off our beaten path, but you said something that really, kind of triggered me to take us down that path. So once again, our hearts and prayers go out to the family of his name was Caden.
Yeah, Caden Tellier.
Tellier.
So Let's Talk Nation. We always support people, but we also send prayers out to folks in times of need. And so the Caden Tellier family out of Selma, Alabama, send up thoughts and prayers to that family right now for the loss they've had. So.
Absolutely. Hey, Greg, this next item, it almost reminds me of that movie.
Which one?
Lost in Space.
Almost.
So if you would, man.
Because Lost in Space, they were lost on a planet, weren't they?
Lost just in space, not just on a planet.
They were still on a ship.
Yes.
Really?
And they went from planet to planet.
You should ain't Star Trek.
Listen,
You should ain't Planet of the Apes.
hey, now come on now. Hey, who was the most famous person on Star Trek?
Oh, Captain Kirk.
Captain Kirk.
Well, no, it depends on who you like.
So you talking about Spock?
Yeah, Spock. Doc. I forgot what Doc's last name was. Mr. McCoy. Was it Dr. McCoy? Or am I thinking about the Love Boat?
But you make me think. Is Captain Kirk, and his real name is, because he's played in Attorney
William Shatner.
William Shatner.
Yeah.
Is he the last of the Star Trek leads now? Because
you know what, you might be right. I think Mr. Sulu passed away. The Black Lady Witch. The significance of that is that William Shatner and the young lady that played, I forget her name, Lieutenant somebody.
Uhura? Who was Uhura?
Yeah, that was the first time, I believe, that an African American female and white male kissed on television. If I
heard that before.
Yeah, you're right. Correctly. Yeah.
So, but I think he is the last of the leading cast.
I want to say you're right. I want to say you're right. So,
and made some things famous, such as "Beam Me Up, Scotty."
Yeah, beam me up, Scotty. Yeah. So, but how we get on that? Oh, that's how we got on that. So, look, I don't know if people realize this, and I think I'm going to say that I actually watched this launch go up. But there was a launch on June 6th, and there were 2 astronauts that went up on June 6th, and they were supposed to go up there for an 8-day mission. That's all it was. The 2 astronauts, Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams, were sent up on a Boeing Starliner craft so that they could do some type of experimentation or something like that in outer space on a craft for 8 days.
Mm-hmm.
Brother Love, this is now, and that was June 6th. They should have been back on June 14th. All right? It is now August 26th, and Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams are still stuck in space.
So the $1 million question I have to ask you is, what is the problem?
Well, the Boeing Starliner is a load of cow manure.
Cow manure.
Yeah. A crocker.
So what they hold up. You can't just gloss over that.
I said it.
So
it's trash. It's garbage.
So was it taken out there to just be incinerated by the sun, or was there a science?
Why would they send the people up there to be incinerated by the sun?
I mean, no. But
you sound like Doc Polite right about now.
Okay. Hey, Doc, I give, because I'm thinking that
Speaking of which, hold on, wait, stop it there. I need to have a conversation about something real quick. I'm upset with you. I'm upset with Armando. Y'all got me walking around here in these high water pants, and ain't nobody tell me my pants was too high. I walk around here looking like little boy Poplar Boy. Every time I walk, I look like I got on cross-colored shorts. No, back in the day, them big hot. Every time I walk, my shoe, the end of my pants swaying in the wind because they too long. Why ain't somebody got high water pants on?
I don't know what
friends
style.
do not let friends wear high water pants. High waters ain't never been in style.
But I don't know your style. I don't know if
you know I know high water bridges.
I don't know. You walked out of your house this
morning. They let me walk around
here. Did your wife see you walk out this morning?
I talked about it last night.
You're not saying anything to him about Halloween like you did me.
Oh,
what did you say? What did you say?
He said, I'm not saying anything about Halloween like I said to him. Now, see, I was going to leave Doc alone, but since he brought it up, we were talking about Lake Mary Little League, and I told you before we got on the set.
I heard about what you did.
Hey, about the Grinch.
Yeah, I heard about that.
I say, man, when is Halloween? He say, October. I say, what's that green behind you in your office? And he said, oh, that's green. I say, so you're going to be the Grinch this year. So now you want me to get on Greg about his being in high water, because I looked outside when Greg walked in, and it looked like it was going to rain.
No, it didn't look like it was going to rain. I'm this high above land right now. So listen, man.
Hey, hold up, though. Your wife is very stylish, and
I don't know why people thought I thought this was the style. I didn't think that. I was walking today, and I happened to catch a glimpse of myself while I was walking by a door. You know, like
you step back and say,
my pants legs swaying. They're not touching my shoes. That ain't supposed to. Man, if my shoes was to catch on fire, if my pants leg was to catch on fire right now, my shoes wouldn't know nothing about it.
And did your office say anything?
They're not saying nothing.
All right.
Only I can talk about me and my hot water pants. So if y'all see me out there, Let's Talk Nation with my hot water pants, don't say nothing. You want a little hat with that? You want to get your little cap with that? But anyway, how we get off on that?
You did that one.
So anyway, astronaut, Commander Wilmore and Commander Williams are still stuck in space because the Boeing aircraft that they went up in, it had some issues with it, and I don't know why they still sent those astronauts up in space, knowing that this particular aircraft has some issues.
You glossing over something. Why did they send manure up there? I mean, no, you saw it, and that was the only thing I could think of. Whether it's a science project.
I'm calling it manure.
Oh, okay, all right. Now, see, because Greg, you know that trash in the United States.
Wait. Don't even try to explain.
Okay, all right. You know where I was about to go. You know what? Okay, all right.
I'm calling it
Hey,
the spacecraft.
I'm passing the baton back. That's what I'm
I
doing.
don't want that baton. I don't want that baton. You thought I said they were sending Commodore up to space?
Hey, man, stranger things have happened. Greg, they sending trash everywhere now. You got me. All right, Doc. Hey, normally I'd be saying this is time to play a commercial. We're not even going to a commercial. Go ahead, Greg. Lost in space. Give it back to them. Lost in space. They got a piece of rocket up there.
They sent the Commodore up to space.
Back to Greg, y'all. Back to Greg. Hey, I can only believe what the attorney tells me.
I didn't tell you that.
Hey,
I did not tell you they sent no Commodore up to space.
Back to attorney, the General Greg Jackson.
Anyways, man. So the Starliner, the Boeing Starliner aircraft that they sent them up in is a load of crud, is what it is.
But I heard it's gonna be running out of air too. With
But no, they're not running out of air. They're fine with that. For some reason, these aircrafts that's up there in space are amazing vehicles.
So you didn't hear nothing about?
Now, what I have heard is that Sunny Williams, that she has a blood condition, and that her red blood cells are diminishing like a certain number per second. Whereas if she was here on Earth, it would not be as many. And so it may cause her to have anemia, for her to be fatigued, tired, and different things like that. Because up in space, it's a different environment and your body responds differently. And so what she's going through up there, where she's not even supposed to be up there at this time. And the point is this right here, Brother Love, is that SpaceX, Elon Musk, his aircraft is going to have to go up there and save these people. But they're not going to be able to leave now until February 2025.
Another 6 months?
Another 9 months.
Not.
I mean, it was total of 9 months.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, total of 9
yeah.
months. Yeah, a total of 9 months that they're going to be in space on an 8-day mission.
So great. You got to depend on the private sector to come in.
Yeah. Well, Boeing is private.
Oh, that's right. You're right.
Yeah. I mean, they do government work, but it's a private enterprise. But Boeing right now has a bunch of egg on their face because they have sent two individuals. I'm not that they're American or whatever. They've sent 2 individuals into space that cannot get back. I thought you were going to say Armageddon. That's what I thought the movie that I thought you were going to reference on that.
So February.
Yeah, of 2025. Ridiculous.
But great. X is not the only private sector company that has a spaceship.
No.
British.
It's not that good. You're talking about Branson?
Yeah.
It's not that good. When's the last time you heard him send something up to space?
Been a long time. You're right.
Bezos is trying to send something up to space. When's the last time you heard something about him?
You're right.
I mean, Elon Musk right now, he's killing the game in that aspect. I mean, he has SpaceX that is on a frequent basis. I mean, I'm talking about, I think once a month we're hearing about
sending satellites into space.
Going out to space, and they have the rocket that goes up and then comes back down and lands on the platform. Elon Musk is killing it right now. From that perspective.
And those are a lot of what you call unmanned missions.
Those unmanned. Yeah. Now, one thing he didn't do right, though, brother.
What's that?
I don't know if you've seen the Cybertruck, but that's got to be the ugliest vehicle I've ever seen in all the days of my life.
Oh yeah, somebody took a picture the other day of a Cybertruck in the Costco line. Hey, and people were taking pictures like, "What is it doing here?"
Yeah. That's got to be the ugliest thing I've ever seen. Now, apparently it's high speed, low drag, but there's no way in the world I would ever. Well, I'm not gonna say no way. But I don't see myself ever wanting that vehicle.
Outside doesn't attract you to the truck, but I haven't been up close to one, Greg. But I hear inside similar to your Teslas and those that it's just luxury inside.
So they had this one music producer. I can't remember his name, and Brother Armando may remember his name, but he was inside of his Cybertruck producing music.
What?
Yeah, I mean, listen. From what I understand, I can't hear you yelling through the door. From what I understand, that Cybertruck is, I mean, it's an amazing vehicle, and amazing technology. I just can't get past the look of it.
Yeah. And it's not an attractive look.
Nah, it's ugly.
You
It looks
know?
like, and my wife showed me something where someone took a picture of like this metallic trash can,
Mhm.
and they had a picture of the Cybertruck, and it looked almost identical.
Well, while cosmetically,
Well, it is trash.
while cosmetically it doesn't look attractive, it is a workhorse. Have you seen that truck in a pull-off contest with a F-150?
Yeah.
Tesla
Yeah.
has been dragging them.
Yeah, and I think it can scat too. I think
Yeah.
you can get 0 to 60
Yeah.
in like 4 or something like that. It can scat.
And
What I'm
the
saying.
interesting thing is when there was a drag contest between the Cybertruck and the F-150,
Mhm.
and you watch it, you can go to YouTube and look at this. That Cybertruck is dragging that F-150, right? Then they switched it out and put an F-250.
And whatever.
It didn't drag it.
Oh, really? The
Yeah.
F-250
Yeah.
took
Yeah,
care of business?
it was a different day.
What about the F-350? They ain't go up?
Oh, see, I didn't even know it was a
Yeah, I think so. Listen, I think I've seen the F-350.
yeah. So it, but man, in terms of also the speed that you just mentioned,
Yeah, it can go.
it can get up.
Yeah, it can go. But yeah, I mean, even like the Tesla Plaid, which is actually a sedan, but the Tesla Plaid, I want to say, gets 0 to 60 in 1.9. Yeah, I mean, it can. Listen, those electric vehicles can go. Now I will say, every now and again, when I'm in my ride, I'll run up on the Tesla and I'll test them one
Oh,
time.
you're a Tesla.
I'll test them.
Tesla and test it. Go
Yeah,
ahead. All right.
I'll test them.
Hey, Greg. Let me shift gears, man. Did you get a chance to watch any of the DNC convention?
I saw some of it, Brother Love. In all fairness, because when the RNC had their convention, I had to watch some of that.
Mhm.
So the DNC, by the fact that I am a Democrat, I did see a little bit of it. And I will say, for the most part, I think that the Democrats did what they set out to accomplish to do. And so I want to say that from that perspective, from that standpoint, that I believe, and similar to the way that the Republicans did, that the Democrats had a very successful convention. I think that they made clear that the message is, as long as you hate Trump, you're on our side. And if that was the message, then they've done an outstanding job, or we've done an outstanding job. But in terms of policy, I don't care who you listen to, and no matter what you've heard, there's still a lot of people who are concerned about the policy issues or the lack thereof that came from the convention that we're hearing from the Democratic candidates in this case.
Here's something, Greg, and I'm glad you brought that up. I'm gonna be totally candid, man, and straightforward. I did not believe that the energy was going to be able to be matched based on the energy and the organization that I saw at the RNC convention.
Yeah.
But as time went on, and you actually, being honest and not being partisan,
Right.
As time went on, you watched that convention, and again, policy aside, I'm just talking about energy right now. They actually was able to match that energy, if not in some cases, push the pedal to get a little bit more out of it than I ever thought they would get.
I mean, listen. A month and a half ago, this was a faltery Democratic Party. There was no excitement. There was feigned excitement for Joe Biden, but people who really and truly were in the know, like Let's Talk Nation's audience, knew that what the Democrats were trying to say about Joe Biden was not true. And that's one thing that I did not like about what was taking place, that they were lying to us and telling us that Joe Biden was fine when they knew that he wasn't, and we could see, and we were telling people that he wasn't. So from that perspective, I think that they have reversed course to get people excited about what's taking place. But now to the other side of it, though, Brother Love, I am still very concerned because I'm not hearing any policy, any policy things that really and truly are getting me excited about what's going to take place if a Democrat is in the White House. So, for instance, one of the things that Kamala Harris has indicated that she wants to do is she wants to put, a tax on unrecognized gain. So what does that mean? That means that if you have a 401k and your 401k increases in value, whereas right now that value continues to sit there and you can reinvest or, dividend reinvest or whatever the case may be, they want to tax you on the gains of your portfolio, even if you don't withdraw any money. Now, they say that will take money from the wealthy and all this other stuff, but that's going to take money from hardworking Americans who have money in their 401ks, who have money tucked away in investment vehicles and things of that nature. Because the wealthy, they're going to get their accountants, they're going to get their other vehicles in order to defer taxes and move things to other places, whereas individuals who are everyday working men and women don't have those resources available to them.
Okay, since you go there, here's something great that I want to bring up, man, and it's one of those double-edged swords. And this is something that we have not seen, at least I haven't seen before, but I'm going to go ahead and not just call it out, but from the perspective that, former President Donald Trump talked about not taxing tip wages.
Right.
And it was applauded.
Yeah.
And then Vice President Kamala Harris came out with the exact same proposal.
Yeah.
And so, Greg, you don't get any pushback from me except one.
Percent.
Normally, when things like this happen, the narrative is, oh, you're using what I came up with. If it's going to benefit, but the other side of it is now you have another population of the workforce of America that's saying, okay, you're going to exempt tips. What about this industry?
Right.
So it's almost like the college forgiveness. You got hard working folk that wasn't eligible for Pell Grants, but they were in the same socioeconomic class, and they had to go get a private loan to pay for college.
Right.
They didn't get any tax deduction.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, don't pigeonhole this out for just a particular segment of America. Make this so that all Americans can participate in these type of endeavors.
No, listen, I agree, and but as I've been saying too, I don't know what the plan is for Democrat. I just don't know what the plan is. The only thing that I really heard from the convention, like I said, if the intent was to make sure that everyone in the room hated Trump, they were successful. If that's what they set out to do, that's what they did. That very successfully. But in terms of when we talk about national policies or domestic policies and keeping this country safe, I didn't hear anything about that, and I haven't heard anything about that. I have heard that if Trump is elected president, gas prices are going to go up, food prices are going to go up, inflation is going to go up. But when you go back and you look, all of that has happened under the Biden administration. So when it was under Trump, with gas prices, and we talked about this multiple times, only because I hope that people have not forgotten, that they're not that short-sighted to understand and realize that before Biden took office, gas prices were $1.89 a gallon. $1.89 a gallon. Now the lowest that I've seen gas, and I'm clapping my hands, is $3.17. That is absolutely ridiculous. When we talk about interest rates have gone up, and I'm understanding they're starting to go down because now the money that they put into the stream of commerce is starting to level out a bit. So I'm understanding that side. But food prices are still through the roof. How do you say that I have a solution to fix these problems, and the problems were the ones created by you? I need to hear solutions to those things, solutions to what's taking place in underserved communities, because I haven't heard those things. Now, what I have heard, and people are going to be critical of me for this, but if we're going to tell the truth, we have to tell the truth. What I have heard is that Kamala Harris has been very straightforward and upfront with saying, I can't do anything for one particular group. I can't do anything just for Black people. And so, listen, she's telling us who she is up front, and if Democrats accept it, that's fine. Now, white America who are Democrats, they don't care.
But can you, the statement when that did come out, Greg, and you look at the body of work and the body of evidence and what's there, that there has been things done for other
oh yeah, of course.
Other ethnic groups.
Listen. We played last week a young lady who had a food truck, and there was a person that came in from a Latin American country, and she was talking about how he didn't have a bank account, didn't have anything, and they gave him money so that he could start a business. There have been a number of programs that have been set aside for specific groups based on their race, their ethnicity, and things of that nature. So, there are things that can be done if Black people want certain things done. But, I'm of the perspective that we shouldn't be standing there with our hand out.
You're right. But let me say this, and I got this from a number of different vantage points. Greg, at the end of the day, is it still a lose scenario for her if she comes back and says, okay, this is what I'm going to do? When you look at, and this is something that you and I are going to roll into in this next segment, when you look at voter turnout and you look and take into consideration, is the risk worth the reward by telling black folk that you are going to do something specific for them if you are elected? When if you and you gave the numbers the other night when you looked at the population numbers and you also looked at the folk who actually get out to vote.
I mean, listen, black voters are, you know, and excuse me for saying this, but Democrats view black voters as the dumbass. DUMBMASS, dumbass. We're dumbasses to the Democratic Party. And what that means is that we're going to follow the Democratic Party no matter what they say, no matter what they do. The Democratic Party can come out right now and tell black voters, the dumbasses, that we're not going to give you anything. We're going to give everything to these other communities. We want you to be against immigration, where individuals who are not from this country receive and get resources that should go into other communities. But we want you to still vote for us. And the dumbasses are going to do just that.
And don't believe, supposedly, that black folk are monolithic in their thinking and voting.
But they do think that.
But that's where I'm going.
And
then, Greg, we take into consideration that you got black folk in Chicago right now that are saying they've had enough when it comes down to being government.
But have the dumbasses really had enough? Y'all, you see, I like to say that.
Yeah, I see you like to say that. I see you like to say that.
And let me make sure I clarify again. I'm saying dumb masses. DUMBMASS.
Because you know somebody will misinterpret it.
I know my mom texts me right now. What you saying?
Are you using the A word? That's what they say. Yeah.
I'm using the A word with the M in front.
With the M in front of it.
That's right.
But Greg, that leads us into it. If you don't want to leave this point too quickly.
Why we got to stop talking about the dumbasses?
Dumbasses. See, dumbasses with an M. Greg ain't gonna have me go down that doggone path.
Is Reverend King listening?
Yeah, Reverend King probably listening. Reverend King probably listening.
Hey, you heard him say dumbasses, didn't you, Reverend King?
Hey, Rev, no. Hey, M, not A, M. And see, the cat getting me going down that path. But Greg, back to your point though. You said this best. Black folk got to make Democrats come to you to earn your vote and not just give it away.
Yeah, but we don't, and that's the thing that frustrates me to no end. Is that the African American vote has proven time and time again that it is, even though we have slipped into third place in terms of the number of individuals by population, we slipped into third. We're still one of the most powerful voting blocks in these United States, because when we move, more times than not, we move together. But even if we don't move together, we have so much strength in our votes, and we are willingly giving away something to a party who does not appreciate our votes.
Well, let me minimize you just a little bit here, because here's an opportunity, I believe, opportunity that Republicans have a great opportunity to have the conversation about how big a tent is. But the other thing that black folks...
Everybody's seen that.
No. Everybody's seen that. But see, Greg, here's what I said.
Everybody's seen that.
Okay. Hey, cut the camera, Doc, and just slant it over this way.
Oh, now you go cut. Oh, is this democracy? This is Let's Talk Nation?
You good.
Oh, this is how he does me on Let's Talk Nation?
Here's what I will say. Man, black folk looking at what's taking place in the business environment, looking at what's taking place in your community, go start having that dialogue and ask the questions of Republicans that when I'm engaging, Greg, you've been engaged as well, and folk come and say what Republican will not do in their policy positions and things of that nature, and we ask the same question all the time. Have you gone and had the conversation?
So, brother, look, basically what you're saying is you're telling black voters to expand their options in terms of who can represent their interests and their needs. And in essence, what you're saying is, in essence, is to stop being a dumbass.
With an M. You say, hey, folks, listen to this. Yeah, with an M. Say it again, Greg.
Dumbass.
Yeah, dumbass. Mass.
Yeah, dumbass.
Hey, see, man, I'm not going there. That's a good trick word tonight, man. Hey, we're gonna move this thing on because, Greg, you're gonna get us in trouble. All right, man, we're gonna close that out.
Listen, I'm laughing, but it's a serious situation.
It
man.
is a serious
I'm
situation.
broke
So,
up inside, brother.
and so serious. I'm gonna move us on because that word is sounding like
I'm
something
broke
else.
up inside because people think that I'm a part of the dumbass.
Okay. Hey, Mr. Attorney Greg Jackson, let's do a recap on what took place last week during the primary election.
You know, listen, brother Love, we do a lot of hard work in talking to voters and talking to Let's Talk Nation about educating themselves about the various individuals who are running for public office. And we never really tell people who to vote for unless it's somebody we just really truly, I'm not gonna say we never do. We have said, hey, listen, we encourage you to do this, but you know, we want to make sure that we bring in people who want to talk to Let's Talk Nation and provide them with the platform. And so we brought in a number of candidates, Brother Love, and so we just wanted to share with Let's Talk Nation the outcome of the elections of some of the individuals that came in and sat down and talked to us. Quite frankly, Brother Love, when we talked about this, there was one that really and truly we got behind because it was just the right thing to do. And so win, lose, or draw, we just got behind this one particular race because it was just the right thing to do under the circumstances. But nonetheless, the Ninth Circuit Public Defender, I don't know if you all recall, but we had Miss Lenore Easter to come in. She was running against Miss Vickers. And Miss Easter had a fabulous platform. She came with a great deal of experience, some great ideas about when someone is arrested, immediately getting them in contact with, with someone to represent them, and some great ideas about how to run the agency. She had the endorsement of the outgoing public defender who's been there for 2 or 3 decades, I can't remember. But unfortunately, despite all of her hard work, all of her efforts, Ms. Easter fell short. But she ran a great campaign, and she got a new idea and a new thought and concept out for people to see.
You're right. And Greg, we can't say, because we're going to, how we call balls and strikes?
Yeah.
Can't say that she fell short without letting the public know, because we talk about how important it is to vote, about how far she fell short.
Yeah.
And she fell short by, I think, Greg, and correct me if I'm wrong, about 31,000.
Yeah, about 31,000 votes. Yeah. And this is over 2 counties.
Over 2 counties. You're right. And we're talking about Osceola and Orange County.
Yeah, it's for the Ninth Circuit.
Greg, here's something that, drumbeat here coming up, that this was a race that drew a great deal of attention.
And interest, yeah.
And interest.
Yeah.
And we had one of the individuals on the show, and I mean, we recognize, because this individual comes from a family, and I'll still say it, a family of royalty.
Yeah, for Central Florida, absolutely.
And this was for Senate District 15 Senate race.
Yeah, so you had Senator Thompson, and her opponent was the former Senator Randolph Bracy. And Brother Love, on paper, without the other stuff that came out of this race, and we got into this because of the stuff, to be quite honest. But on paper, this should have been a great race. You had, Senator Thompson, she's, a little bit older. I'm hoping that she's going to pass the baton at some point in time, because we do need fresher, new ideas up on the hill against a young man who has been in the legislature as a representative, as a state senator, has been in leadership in an area that most Democrats would never see, has a way of navigating across both sides of the aisle. And I start seeing like the mails that went out, and so Senator Thompson was sending his things out by his name, almost like a Republican, or just like a Republican. And I thought that was unnecessary. He is clearly a Democrat. His parents are Democrats. His dad was president of the NAACP. His mom actually integrated, Alachua High School.
We had a mom on the show.
Had a mom and had a sister on the show.
Yeah.
I mean, so no, he was not almost like a Republican anything, but he was an individual who was able to work across the aisles, which is what you need in politics.
You're right.
But unfortunately, unfortunately, depends on who you're going for. Unfortunately, in that race, former Senator Bracy was not successful in that race. But we do most certainly wish him the best. But more importantly, Brother Love, and we've said this publicly and privately, we're hoping that now that this race is behind them, that there can be some healing with the Bracy family to whatever extent that can occur.
You're absolutely right. Hey, Greg, one little note based on what you said, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
When you talked about you hope that the passing of the baton takes place, I believe that this is Senator Thompson's second and last term. I mean, those Senate seats and House seats are term limited. So I believe she's going into her second and final term. So it's not a matter of passing the baton. That baton is going to be out there for other talent, if you
All
will.
right, but what'll be next? I mean, because remember
Oh,
she
yeah,
went
yeah.
from state representative to running for Congress.
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
that was when she ran against Val Demings.
Point
And
taken.
then, yeah, so
Point taken.
so let's start training up our newer or our younger generation to be in positions of power. I mean, Matthew Frost, despite what I think about his politics, it's great to see a Gen Zer who is in Congress right now.
But okay, I'm all right.
What you gonna say? What you about to say?
I'm not gonna say anything about that.
What you about to say?
Basically, you're talking about building a bench.
That's what I thought.
You're talking about building a bench.
We ain't gonna talk about my Democratic brethren over here.
We talking about building a bench.
I rep. What's called the Democrats blue or red?
You don't know? Yes.
Yeah, they're blue.
Yeah.
I thought they rep the blue.
Hey, moving on. Of note,
You know I know that prayer. I'm just-
I know. Of note, Alan Grayson came in third.
Yeah, this is interesting. Alan Grayson. I remember in 2012, Alan Grayson was like the darling of the Democrat Party, and I remember I went to a rally, and I saw him and everybody else, and the person that got the loudest applause and the cheers was Alan Grayson. Alan Grayson has fallen from grace, no pun intended, to where he can't even win a state Senate race, much less even place above. I mean, in third place, when I say third, that's because that's the only three people in the race. He's
And in
last.
the last two races, Greg, that he was in, race
The
self-finance, but self-finance.
Yes, yeah.
You know, not everybody can self-finance their own
He's
campaign.
gonna run out of money playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you might as well give that up. But that was just something interesting.
Greg, somebody else who has stepped in as a guest co-host when one of us have been out that basically came up in the win column. And I mean, we know this individual. We think he's doing a great job. And we're talking about none other than
Yeah.
Representative Bruce Anton.
Bruce Anton, yeah. So he pulled out his race. He run convincingly.
Yeah.
For a time period, Representative Anton was kind of on the outs because he was also viewed as someone that was willing to work across the aisles.
And speak his mind.
And speak his mind. Listen,
Speak
yeah,
his
we were
mind.
at that breakfast, and yeah, listen, don't get him sideways. But yeah, so congratulations to Representative Bruce Anton. He's doing great work. He is another individual who knows how to work
across the aisle,
which is
You're right.
important. And he brings results back for his community because he's able to do so.
Great. Let me open this up, man. And I know time is ticking,
Yep.
but we open the doors or we open the studio cams to folk who want to come in and tell the general public about themselves.
Right.
And we open it up for new candidates as well.
Yeah.
And with this individual who I'm not gonna say pulled off a win, who won.
Yeah.
And this is an individual who came on here and they let Let's Talk Nation's audience know who she was and what she was all about.
That's right. You're talking about Alicia Payton.
Mm-hmm.
And Payton or Patton, I apologize. I always mess up the
I thought it was
P.
Payton.
I always mess up the P-E-Y. I
P-E-Y.
always mess up the P-E-Y, but it's P-E-Y-T-O-N. But thankfully, you all didn't mess it up because Orange County got out and you all voted her convincingly. And here's the thing, Brother Love. She defeated an incumbent judge in Jeff Ashton.
Yes.
Jeff Ashton, if you all don't remember, was the prosecutor in the Casey Anthony case as well as the George Zimmerman case, if I remember right. Why am I pointing myself?
I don't know, but it was convincing. It was convincing.
It's that Republican side coming. But anyway, it was a convincing win by Ms. Payton. Congratulations to her. And Brother Love, I can probably say that the votes that she took to win that race, that she got those extra votes from Let's Talk Nation.
Hey, we're gonna claim it.
We're gonna claim it.
Great. Here's the other thing that I want to put an emphasis on it. Let's Talk Nation's doors are not just open to people that look like us.
No.
Let's Talk Nation's doors is open to everybody.
Everybody.
And Greg, I am proud because I saw this next individual out there working.
Yeah.
Working.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about none other than an incumbent judge, and I'm talking about Craig McCarthy.
Craig McCarthy came in very humble, had a great story to tell. We're happy to see that he won his election. He won by, I want to say, just over 2,000 votes, Brother Love. I'm convinced again that his time period that he spent with Let's Talk Nation, Brother Love, is what pushed him over the top. So listen, Judge Payton, Judge McCarthy, we're looking forward to seeing y'all to come and talk to Let's Talk Nation to let them know how much you appreciate them pushing you over the top.
And Greg, I was impressed by watching him work. I mean, I would drive by and see him at the different outside the precincts, man, working.
Yeah.
Great.
You know, his opponent was kind of a piece of work too, but I'm not gonna get into that too much. Yeah. She was spreading some stuff that wasn't very kind.
I'll tell you what, in 5 minutes, we're not gonna give them any time.
Yeah.
Great. Here's another individual that came on Let's Talk Nation, and he articulated policy.
Yeah.
So go ahead and run into what Mr. Austin did.
So Mr. Austin, had a great campaign. He ran into some issues with his opponent, also doing some things that were interesting. I'll leave it at that. And his race was this was the tightest race
Yeah.
of them all. And with this particular race on election night, you and I, we were talking. We looked, and Mr. Austin Arthur was up by 26 votes. Unfortunately, they were still doing some counting. There were some ballots, mail-in ballots that hadn't been counted. We looked the next day; he was down by 5. What that did was that prompted an automatic recount to happen over the weekend. We had to sit down and have a conversation with him to try to figure out some strategy, but I didn't understand how that strategy was going to work, but we did that. People don't know our outside influences and stuff like that. But he ended up losing by 2 votes. But that is amazing, given the fact that he was running against an incumbent in office who was somewhat popular.
You're right. Well, great. And we're sticking with Orange County right now,
Yep.
and we got 2 other races, Greg, that have
But one that
amounted
really matters.
to
One that really matters.
what
One that really matters.
2 are resulting in runoffs.
Which two? Uribe?
Yes.
How?
Commissioner Uribe and who is it?
Linda
The
Stewart?
open seat. No. Well, Linda Stewart and Commissioner Uribe in a runoff.
Really?
Yes. And
I thought that they beat that threshold.
he didn't get 50+1.
Oh man, I think I was looking at it election night. So.
Yeah. And you have District 5 that resulted in the runoff as well.
Yeah.
So
Commissioner Uribe has some work to do.
got some work to do.
Well, listen, Let's Talk Nation, we're probably going to have Commissioner Uribe back on again so that she can talk to you about her great works and ask you to talk to your friends in District 5 to help her along the hump.
District 3. Yeah.
To help her over the hump this last time. In District 5, I just thought District 5 was interesting because Steve O'Leary and Joy Golf Marcos was in that race. And it looks as if they were running up against someone in Simrad.
You're right.
And so who's running up against Simrad? Is that O'Leary?
Steve Leary. Yes.
Steve Leary, yeah.
Yes.
And he's, what's that, Winter Springs?
No, Winter Park.
Winter
Winter
Park.
Park.
Yeah, Winter
Yeah,
Park.
Winter
He's
Park.
the former mayor
Yes.
of Winter Park. And that's why I found that interesting because, he knows the ropes. So
You're right.
yeah,
You're
but
right.
he may know just enough to overcome in the runoff.
Hey, I see the little note here about the school.
I don't care about school board.
Hey,
I don't
and
care about that.
you timed it up perfectly because we got about 3 minutes and 3 minutes to talk about this.
Literally, that's my note say. That's my note say. I don't care about school board races.
Hey, but we do have the race coming up, Greg, for the 9th.
This is going to be, Brother Love. Listen, for people who want to watch good politics, this is going to be a tremendous race to watch. You have current state attorney Andrew Bain, who's been on the show. I've actually interviewed him. You've actually had some conversations with him. I think that he's done an outstanding job with restoring the agency, restoring the trust and faith of the individuals who work in the agency, restoring the faith of the community, at least the ones who will admit that they are pleased with the work that he's doing, in terms of holding individuals accountable if they commit crimes and that he is properly charging those individuals and taking the right cases to trial. Against someone who was in that seat, Ms. Royale, who was suspended and removed from office by the governor. Some thought wrongfully, but that was the same thing that happened to Aramis Ayala. She was kind of doing the same types of things. And so this is going to be a race where I think that there's going to be a lot of interest with Royale because of the hip hop culture that she kind of brought. And I hate to say hip hop because I don't want to make it seem as if she's an urban candidate. I'm just saying just kind of how she ran her campaign the last time. Against someone that I think is a proven individual, former judge, former attorney, now state attorney for the state of Florida, doing an outstanding.
And you landed all out there, and 2 things just come to mind. All of what you said, and I'm gonna include one other piece, and that is you spoke about public safety, but then the other aspect, Greg, that we both witnessed and seen is the level of community engagement that State Attorney Bain has been really enthralling himself into.
Yeah, that's right. That's much needed.
So hey, tune in. And before we sign off, Let's Talk Nation, we open our doors up to all candidates. We want to extend that invitation. Come on the show. Let everybody else know who you are and what you're all about.
Can I give this quick PSA, brother?
Do your thing.
For all of you all out there, don't be a dumbass.
Oh, hey, you don't have to go home.
But you got to get out of here.
We'll see you next week on Let's Talk Nation.